Hey guys, and welcome to a bouncy pop filter, also known as Teen Questions, with me, Hollow, and this, Jeffrey, the T. I have no idea why I referred to him as Jeffrey, but I did. Now let me just open the questions. There we go. So they're on my screen, and we can hop right into it, because we've got a few questions here that some are interesting, some are in depth, some are just quick answers, so we should probably get right into it. Alright, so this is my first 10 questions on the new computer. Hopefully everything will be okay, and visually and stuff. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll be learning how to properly do it all, so if there's any tiny errors or whatever, you'll have to forgive me for the first bit while I'm learning all this new stuff. Anyway, Alexandra Flowers says, oh god, I said Alexandra, with an X, but there's clearly a J where the X would be. Alexandra, is that right? It feels, that's as close as we're going to get. Hello, I've been wanting to ask you a question for a while now, so here goes. My cousin is a YouTuber, and like most gaming channels, he goes by a different name. I've noticed that my cousin is a lot more confident as this alter ego, unlike his personality changes a little, not necessarily in a bad way. He just gets louder and slightly more competitive. As I spent more time in YouTube, I saw that this might be, a lot more common than I thought. My questions are, is Hollow and Aaron slightly different from each other? Oh yeah, we're still the same person, this person that I am now, Hollow, and Aaron. It's just Aaron might, speak a little bit less and only sort of put out his opinion in a conversation when it's, I guess, slightly more relevant and there's something to be said. I still make jokes and junk. I'm still the same person. It's just, when you're in front of a camera and you're trying to be entertaining, you turn it on a little bit, You try and make sure that you are entertaining right now and the things you're saying are relevant and interesting. That's a thing you try to do. Do you know why this happens, or could it happen to people on the internet? Actually, it's not just on the internet. It's for everyone in the whole life. Any person who is about to walk up in front of people and go, here's a presentation, I'm going to tell you information. They suddenly try to make themselves entertaining and interesting and try and make themselves speak about something relevant. A comedian. He is a normal person who doesn't make jokes every second of the day. He's probably a funny person, or she, whatever. And then they walk onto a stage and they're about to do a stand-up show. They suddenly need to force themselves to be funnier than they normally are. They've prepared for this, they're ready, and they make the jokes, and they're purposely trying to be more entertaining in that moment. Someone who's hosting a TV show, who's on a TV show themselves, a contestant or the host, they're both trying to be more entertaining than they normally would. This is a completely normal thing, and not only on the internet, and not only a YouTube related thing. Do you think it's stupid, and have you never heard of it before? No, it's not stupid. It's a completely normal thing. It's something I do. It's something that a lot of my YouTube friends do. A lot of people that I know to do presentations, like I say, and in all lines of work, when you have to interact with someone and you need to make sure that you are doing something specific, then you try harder than you normally would if it was just a normal situation where nothing's happening, and that's just how it is. Is this something that could harm my cousin or anybody, actually? Specifically, no, it's a good thing. It's improving his confidence as a person and sort of progressing his ability to interact with others, and he'll probably find before long that he's able to be more open and confident in real life situations as well as online and behind camera situations. Personally, I found it be a really invigorating and confidence boosting thing for me to do YouTube and be able to talk to this camera like this and talk to all you people and answer these questions, just as an example. So there you go. I hope that helps you, Mr. Flowers. EBK Brothers in Time says, how do you think Binding of Isaac would do as a co-op or multiplayer game? It wasn't actually just EBK Brothers, but also Compound Gaming, Matt, said this as well, something similar anyway. How would you find Binding of Isaac as a co-op or multiplayer game? Well, firstly, Binding of Isaac itself is awesome. Rebirth probably will be awesome, and loads of more content and a better graphic style and not in Flash and all that. That's going to be awesome. And maybe, I quite like this idea, dude, that maybe in the third version, some distant future, we get an Isaac where there's multiplayer. And how it would have to work, I think, is they probably have to make each level, each room, bigger, so there's more space. create new enemies that suit multiplayer and shoot at both of you or whatever. You'd have to make it harder, obviously, and more enemies, but you'd also have to make the rooms bigger, and potentially it could be a really cool thing if there was like some synergies between the characters and stuff like that. Well, with the lore with Isaac, Isaac is this one person who's like putting on wigs and different stuff and drawing on abs to become Samson and that kind of thing. He's got like a split personality thing. So it probably wouldn't work with that story, but maybe there'd be a way to bring these two characters together in sort of an Isaac style world. So yeah, I think that's a cool idea. It wouldn't work in the current state of Isaac, but if a game was made for it, then yeah, I'd say it's totally possible. Alright, Chaotix asks, Hollow, would you ever consider doing a podcast? And if so, what would you do in said podcast? Yeah, we've talked about it actually a few times, and I was thinking of hosting like a half-an-hour show once a week where we just talk about stuff, but I don't know what I would talk about, because I don't want to talk about politics or religion. I don't know where the topics would come from, but we've considered doing a podcast, me and a group of my friends, many times, and maybe one day it'll happen, but I don't know. I'm waiting for the right time to do it, I guess, which could be any time, but it'd probably be less of a podcast on like iTunes and more of a half-an-hour show once a week on my YouTube channel. And maybe I bring in different people each time, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do a podcast. It's an idea that I've had in my mind for a while. And Freedom's on the show twice today, and his first question is, when do you think we'll get to see you in your Deathstroke costume? Could you wear it for a bit and show it on camera? Well, my Deathstroke costume, I've posted a few pictures of it on Twitter, and the likes of that, and Tumblr as well. There's the mask itself, looks pretty cool. But there's a video coming soon, TM, where I reached a sub-goal recently, where the idea was that I show the full costume, I show pictures of the costume, and I show you where and how I got the pieces that I did, and the things that I made, such as the sword and the bow staff. I'll show you how I made those with pictures and the like and video. So I'm going to make a whole video dedicated to the cosplay and how it was, my opinion on it, if I'm happy with it and think I could improve and all that junk, and show everything to do with it. So yes, that's coming. Good question. Yeah, it's coming. Metal Shriv asks, do you believe there are advanced alien civilizations somewhere in the universe? Well, advanced is the word that I would take out of that sentence. I believe there are alien life, to us anyway, alien life, it's normal to them, somewhere. Like, if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, that, once there was an explosion that ultimately ended up forming life, and on Earth we've been in this very lucky situation where there was just all of these different elements coming together that, the right amount of oxygen and the right amount of sunlight and all that allowed us to form life and ultimately become the species that we are now, and all of the life that's here in general besides our own human species. I think it's entirely possible. If it could happen on Earth, it could happen on any of the planets that there are that we might not know about. Maybe not the ones closer to the sun, but maybe this life that's sustained there. I mean, there's water on, is it Mars, I think, that's got water on it, so there's potential that we could live on Mars. It's just sort of if-or situation. Is there enough of something to sustain life? Is there something that's ultimately caused some sort of organism to spawn and evolve, and then evolve into something that can survive in its environment and the way the place that it's in? And that's entirely possible, in my opinion. I think that could happen. It could happen on any of the planets in another universe or galaxy, I guess. It could happen. There's probably aliens out there. If we exist, there's a damn high chance that there's other ones that exist as well. Whether they're advanced or not as advanced as us, I can't tell you, because they might not have been alive for as long, or they may have been alive for much longer. Who knows? The potential is out there, and it's probably likely there is, in my opinion. Finally, the second Hand of Freedom question. He'd like me to speak about the community of people in different games that you've played or still play, and how this affects game experience. What is the least toxic community, and what's the most toxic community that I've ever played? Toxic meaning people flame, rage, and troll, something that makes you enjoy the game less. Do they do it intentionally? Does it have anything to do with the game, or does it just happen to be that way? It's an interesting question, Freedom. Basically, yes, it definitely affects gameplay. When someone's mad mad and they're trying to make you mad, or whatever situation where someone's just upset and they're not happy, it can have a negative impact on the game, especially in games with like voice communication, like Dota and CS I've been playing. Occasionally we'll get a child who will scream down the mic and be angry, or someone who says, kick me, I'm having a bad game, I happen to go 0-4 in the first few rounds, therefore I'm done, and starts team killing in CS. That's just an example. In all online games, this can happen. It's not just one thing. I must say, I find the LoL community, when I played LoL, out of all the communities of all the games that I played, the least forgiving. At least at the brackets that I was playing at. And especially when you're in ELO hell, I guess, if that still exists on LoL, like low rankings like gold and silver or whatever it is. Sure, you find these people more often than not. And there's a reason. These people are trying to improve as players and expecting it to happen without really any effort or learning or actually putting in the effort behind the scenes. So they get angry and they take it out on others. Sometimes you'll get a person who'll queue for a game or join a game, and ultimately their goal is just to piss everyone off because they might have had a bad day, or they might have a great day, and maybe they just enjoy dicking people around. It's not the game, I think. It's just the people playing it and the likeliness that they'll get angry. I think it can have a positive influence on the game to have someone, be there and try and, communicate and make friends and potentially make, like lifelong friends or groups or whatever. And it can also be negative because you can get that ragey troll who's having a bad game who now says, I'm losing this game for you. Or, in a MOBA, they didn't get that character they wanted, so they're forced running into the enemy and dying and feeding them, so you lose. This happens. And I don't think it's any specific game that it happens on. I think it's just the internet where you're able to be anonymous and get away with this shit, man. You could be banned and just make a new account. That's the problem with like free-to-play games, for example. So it's definitely a thing, and it's definitely something to think about. But I don't know. It's happened to me a lot to see these things. It's probably happened to everyone who's played an online game ever. I think it's less about the game and more just a community coming together to play the game. And ultimately, you're at some point. I mean, hell, I've had bad days where I've been really pissed off and I've just been like unforgiving of mistakes. It's happened to me. I've been like a dick sometimes. It happens, but I've never like specifically gone into a game and gone, I'm going to feed and piss everyone off. I don't see the purpose in that, but, we're different to those people, I guess. People who just want to play a game and improve. Some people just aren't interested in that. Some people aren't taking it that seriously. So I don't know why it happens, but it just happens. The human race, man. Be afraid. All right, I barely drank any of this tea, and I've spoke a lot in these past 10 minutes. Jesus Christ, I'm going to take this sip here. But yes, I hope I've answered your questions well, guys. If you have enjoyed this teen questions, please leave a like. If you would like to leave a comment with a question, then please leave it on this video. It's the best way for me to look. I go for the comments. I pick some good, interesting questions. If you think you had an interesting question that didn't get picked, then try again. Maybe I missed it. Otherwise, guys, hope you have a great day/night, depending on where you are. I've been Hollow. You've been you. See you next time.